Now I get to say it. Good afternoon, everybody. We crossed over 710 KNUS Saturday, March 14th. It is the St. Patrick's Day Parade Day. 75 will be the high and windy. Jonathan, Flora, and myself, 710 KNUS. We are the morning show on Saturdays. I want to do this. These are my guys and these are my friends. And this is Brando, of course. Devil's Head Choppers in Castle Rock, and we got another motorcycle show coming. It's always good to plug them, and nobody better than Brando. I'm going to see him in a little bit, actually. So talk about, Scott can't make it today because he's got family, but you are speaking for the bike show. Brando, what's this one, and where and how and everything that goes with it?
Well, the where and the how. Well, great to talk to you again, Peter.
Oh, you the man, always.
So this next event is the Colorado Super Show and Swap Meet, and this is kind of the Colorado Springs Swap Meet, and that's actually next weekend, March 21st and 22nd. Saturdays 9 to 6, Sundays 10 to 5, and that's down kind of the middle of middle of Colorado Springs, and it's on the west side of the interstate off that Cimarron exit, kind of tucked back in there at the Norris Penrose Event Center. And this has been a fun bike show and vendors, and man, I got notes on everything just so I don't forget. There's a tattoo competition, live music, free parking, and my favorite part, dude. I'm gonna take home the trophy for this. This is the kids coloring contest.
You will. I got to tell you about this guy. I don't even know how I met you. But I love him. He and his wife and his little kids, and they have this great place called it's Devil's Head, and the guys that hang out there. I'm actually going to stop and see them this afternoon rather, and he's just my guy, and I don't know how he became it. Where did I meet you, Brando? Did I meet you with Todd, or who did I meet you with?
It was Mike Douglas, I remember.
Okay.
You gave him a ride down to pick up or drop off his motorcycle.
That was it. Yes.
And you're like, hey, I'm the great Peter Boyles.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
I was like, I heard of you once or twice.
Oh, I didn't do it.
That was years ago, though. I remember it very well. You always, when you meet one of the best people in the world, you always remember it.
Yeah. Anyhow, but I started hanging with him, and then he's taken my trike, my bike, and it's won a couple of awards, and I just think that he just hung the moon, and I'll see him this afternoon. So one more time, it's next Saturday and Sunday.
Next Saturday and Sunday, you can still register for the bike show if you got a nice bike. This is a good one to show it off, and that comes with, if you register for the bike show, it comes with passes for the weekends. I think it's the same price as buying the passes. So definitely, bike show's cool, vendors are cool, live music's cool. And let me see, the best way to get information, all the information, or to register or buy tickets, is the coloradosupershow.com website. And that has everything you need to know on it.
And that's Scott's. All right.
That's Scott's, yeah.
That's Scott. Back to work.
Yeah, back to work.
Well, I tell you what we're doing, and Jonathan's here. We're doing have the UFO show. I'm afraid to ask you this. Do you think something has to explain many of your friends? Have we been visited, and are the alien people, whatever they are they here?
I am not allowed to talk about aliens on your show. Of any kind.
Have we something has to explain Lou? have aliens? Huh?
Lou is my idiot savant. There is no explaining him. He is fantastic.
Finest wrench in the Front Range, Lou Robinson. The guy can really. I mean, he really is. That's a good way to describe him. Anyhow, I'll see you in a little bit. Be safe. Goodbye.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
All right. Now, we have folks on the phones that are waiting to talk. 303-696-1971. You wanted to say something about UFOs and being visited.
Well, no, I was just saying I don't know if they're here. I mean, they would have to be incredibly patient if they are, but I've seen enough sci-fi movies to know that when they come here with ill intent. So I hope they're not here.
And that was, I think, one of the things Obama said is he said he's not afraid of them. Seriously.
Well, he hasn't watched any of these movies. What's your favorite sci-fi movie about alien invasion?
The Thing, Howard Hawks, the original one.
Not the John Carpenter one.
No, and although that's the book, The Thing that they made, and I went to see that. I don't know how old I was. Boy, that one really ticked me. I knew that, and I later found out James Arness, Matt Dillon played The Thing, Mr. Dillon, but
Mr. Dillon.
He played The Thing, and one of my favorite lines from that film, and then we'll go to the phones, 303-696-1971. He said, "What if it can read minds?" And the guy said, "It's going to be real mad when it gets to me."
Or bored.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right, 303. Fill them up, 303-696-1971. Let's go to Gary. Gary, you're with Jonathan Flora, Peter Boyles, 710 KNUS. Good afternoon. Brother,
Are you talking to Jerry?
I'm talking to you.
Jerry?
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Jerry, not Gary.
I apologize.
Anyway, I appreciate you letting me talk to you. I've talked to you before, but I just wanted to talk about my experience. My wife and I, we were watching the X-Files regularly back when they were on, and we thought, well, we'd like to see a UFO. And we came home one night, and there was these circular lights in the backyard in the sky, and we looked at each other, and we knew what we thought. We ran out there, and as I was running out there, I thought, I'm not ready for this. And it turned out to be spotlights advertising cars. But we were so psyched out, that that's what we thought.
So what do you believe?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I believe. There are two fears that we have. One is the fear that we are not alone, but the other fear is that we are alone.
Yeah.
And if we are alone, we have a heck of a responsibility.
There's no way that we're alone, given the vastness.
Well, I would go 49-51 that there is life out there.
Oh, you're betting the odds.
Yeah, I would go 49 that there is. It's because of the distance. But let me just tell you one thing. What has learned lately, that scientists have confirmed that warp drive is possible.
Yes.
And if you have warp drive, you can exceed the speed of light by warping to space.
Well, that's what the Guild did in Dune. Remember that? The Spicers.
Yeah, but for scientists to actually confirm that it's possible, they've thought that maybe it would be, but they just came out just this last week confirming that it is possible.
Okay. I'm getting an echo out of your. I'm gonna. Thanks, Jerry. Be safe. 303-696-1971. I'm a big fan of the book Dune, the first book. After that, you can throw them away. But the Spicers, the Guild, and they delivered the spice. And there's so many correlations in that book, but the spice must flow. But what the Spicers were able to do, what the Dune, the people who moved everybody, they did it, and they what did they bend time? I think is what they talked about. So lines are open for the first time in the show since we started. 303-696-1971.
Do you like the new Dune movies? I mean, they're a big step up from the book, 30 years ago.
The book was so important. I mean, I read that book and I thought, wow. And then the follow-up books I never was crazy about, and he turns into a worm and,
right.
Come on. But I think there's so many parallels. The spice is oil. Mm-hmm. And the Fremen possibly are Palestinians. And the Guild is the multinational oil companies. And I think I would have loved to have talked to him. And the emperor was somebody, Fold Space, thanks, Joe. the emperor was that everybody agreed, and there was the guild, and then there was all that kind of stuff. He builds an entire world, and yes, I do think he was writing about stuff that he saw. The spice is LSD. I really believe it, because just then LSD had just, anybody else can do this, but LSD had just arrived, kind of 65 when he wrote that, and the spice was the ability to change who you are. I've read that book 3 times just to try and get a handle on it, but it's like reading the Rings, the trilogy. What's he really writing about? And in the book, in the movie, they made the movies, and when they all got back to the Shire, everything was wonderful. Everything was in place, and everything was great, and everybody goes on. In the book, if you read the book, Tolkien says when they come back, the Shire's been destroyed. It's all dark, and it's industrialization has come to the Shire. And, Tolkien's deeply religious, very Christian, and he had a horrible, horrible time in the trenches of the First World War. And he was, in some ways, I think you could say he was PTSD'd and what they had seen. And they came back, and he hooks up with another great Christian writer, and
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
And who influences who?
I think they had a great creative competition going on how to tell the Christian story in parables that people will get and understand and be entertained by.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Absolutely.
And the lion is Christ.
Yep.
There's no question. Yeah. And he does other books as well, but the two of them meeting.
I'd like to be in that room for coffee.
And
just listen.
They created a language, and they spoke it, and who were they called? The coal biters. What did they look that up? Would you, Adam? They and where they met, and the two of them. Who influenced who?
Yes.
Lewis.
I'm just going to say yes.
Yeah. I thought Lewis influenced Tolkien. But, I mean, imagine these guys.
Yeah.
And what they had been through. And
that war.
You read about that
you could
stuff.
park on that for a while.
That got Solzhenitsyn so much in trouble, but when he talked about the Russians, and they're waiting, they're being given bullets that don't fit the rifles. This is how bad the Tsar's army is, and they're in those trenches and they're sharpening their shovels, waiting for the Germans. I mean, and then Solzhenitsyn comes out, and he's Orthodox, but he is also strong. And in the end they treated Solzhenitsyn badly. But I remember reading A Day in the Life, and then I read The First Circle and the Cancer Ward and all the stuff that he wrote about. But when he writes, and I was a young guy when I read the Day in the Life of Ivan Dezanovich, and it was just one day, and they're in Stalin's camps, and he hides a bread crust in his mattress, and he's had a successful day. And the way that and it was really interesting too, that they didn't have to go to work if it went below, I forget the temperature, but it went below that. They didn't have to go in the work crew, and they're in the gulag, and he realizes, as the others do, the thermometer won't go that low.
Yeah, I was gonna say even if it did, they had to be like 30 below or something like that. You always had to.
They rigged it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They rigged it. You had to go to work, and I think they were laying block or something, laying bricks, and by the time you're done with that book, you know who these guys are. That's his, and no one is even quite sure why they're there. crimes
And how
against
the spirit of humanity can still stay alive in times like that.
Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah.
And they accepted it. They were crimes. And the question is, out of Solzhenitsyn is, when are we going to do crimes against the state? Because that's why they were there. Crimes against the state. And do we have that now? We're just talking about the abortion issue and the role of the government and the ability to say yes or no, and talking about drugs. Does the state have that much power?
Are you saying our government or that?
Yeah,
Well, because when these can get really challenging questions.
You bet.
Because really, the government's sole function is to protect individual rights.
You want to believe that.
Yeah.
You want to believe that.
Yeah, that's on the paper. Now, in action, we can go on and on.
I was the first time I was full time, got a job. I should say in radio. It was cat radio, and there was a guy there that had worked in Radio Free Europe. When he was an old guy, and when they put that on the air, and I met some guys later that worked at Radio Marti when they fired that into Cuba, and the case of going against Stalin. By the time Khrushchev comes around, that's kind of but during Stalin, and they had rooms full of disc jockeys. They had Polish speakers, they had Hungarian speakers, they had Russian speakers, they had all the so-called captive nations, and they were disc jockeys, and they would move the frequency. They weren't controlled by anybody, so they could just go up and down the dial any place they wanted to go. And then Stalin's blockers would go up and down the dial, chasing them to block them. And every day they would change where they were going. And the the people in Soviet Union or in parts of Soviet Union, Warsaw Bloc, they went too. And they wanted, and people. Stalin's his fear, his hatred. Radios, copying machines. I mean, it wasn't guns.
Well, it's thought. It's freedom of thought in words.
Yeah. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, where are we headed? And when people now go into libraries and take books, oof.
Well, there's social censorship.
Talk.
Yeah, I mean, you can see. I mean, they can say whatever you want now. It's amazing how much social censorship there is right now, and that is the old town square, the days of old, where we'd get together and we'd have a pint and we'd be talking. But now there's another vehicle in which we can talk, and somebody is determining who gets seen and who doesn't get seen.
See, I believe that what this business is really is the backyard fence.
Totally.
It's a bar room. It's yeah.
Is it Tim Allen?
Yeah. No, sir. I think it is.
Yeah.
I don't know where we got off into this, but I do believe that. I believe that talk radio is the backyard fence.
Yeah.
It's a bar room, and as it gets taken over or dismissed, one or the other, it's changing what we say. Let's go back to lines are lighting up. Everybody join into this. I don't know where this conversation is going, but Jonathan and I do this all the time. 303-696-1971. Our lines are lighting up. It is a Saturday afternoon. Peter Boyles and Jonathan Flora. Stay here.
Your 710 KNUS forecast is Saturday, partly sunny and breezy with gusts up to 35 miles per hour, highs near 75. Big change tonight, rain changing over to snow, strong winds with low temperatures near 25. Quite a bit cooler for Sunday with snow showers early, highs near 35. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Thank you, Mr. Announcer Person. It is St. Patrick's Day. Thank you. Now listen to this music for a second. You can only do two things to this music. You can drink, and you can dance, and you can fight. But there's nothing else you can do. Can you make love to this? No. I mean, I grew up on this, but it's the High Holy Day. It's St. Patrick's Day Parade Day, but Irish music, I don't pick one. I don't care. Oh, find some of that rebel music. That's stuff that I like. But it's like, what can you do to that music? Well, not much. You can that or fight. 75 will be the high, windy, and we'll go to the phones. It's open lines, and Jonathan always brings out the very worst in me or the very best. Jonathan Flora is here. If you're planning a winter trip but don't want to buy a whole setup for the kids for skiing, maybe your equipment just needs a little TLC, and that's why I send listeners to Larson Ski and Sport, undisputed champions of rentals and repair services. Larson's. And again, still making the mountain easy and affordable, fantastic season rental packages, but we're getting down to it. So this is coming up on great spring skiing. So when it comes to repairs and tunes, their certified techs are experts, ensuring your Dynastar, they say, Solomon, other high-end gear performs absolutely perfectly. They carry all the newest skis and boards and high-quality insulated jackets, pants, whatever you need. And this is, again, don't waste your time driving up to the mountains and looking around. Make your pit stop right off the interstate. Again, you're westbound on I-70. Get off on the Kipling exit, come down the ramp, make a left, go back under the highway through the tunnel, and then as soon as you come out, look right to the right, look to the west, see a big wooden box store, Larson Ski and Sport. 7 days a week. Tell them I sent you. John Marriott, his son Jack, Paul, everybody that's there, they are the guys. Larson's, Larson, Ski and Sport, south of I-70 on Kipling. Call them at 303-423-0654, larsonsport.com, LARSONsport.com, 303-423-0654. Before we go to the phones, I want to read this to you. Peter, are you familiar with Chase Hughes? I'm not. Do you know who Chase Hughes is?
No.
Adam, look up Chase Hughes. See what you can see. This is Gary in Denver. Gary on the radio show. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Oh, hi, Peter. I hope you're well.
I am.
Do you mind if I ask you a question about your interview last week with Altman?
I do mind.
Oh.
Joe who? Okay. Let's.
Well,
yeah.
I listened to it, and it almost, he sort of.
Listen to me. Gary, I got to tell you no, okay? Do you mind? I apologize, but no. Ask
Okay.
something else. I'm okay with it, but not that.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I listened to your pro-life debate. Could I make a comment on that?
Of course.
I'm pro-choice, and I guess the way I address people who say it's murder is, I think the mother should have a choice to murder their baby if they choose to.
I'll give that to Jonathan.
See, that's a very interesting line. The mother has the right to murder their baby if they want to.
Yes.
How do you justify murder?
I can't justify murder, but I think,
But you are by saying that. By saying a mother has the right to murder their baby, you're justifying murder and saying you're okay with it.
No, I'm saying they should have the choice to do that, and they're going to have to live with it.
But then the baby dies, obviously.
Right.
I mean, so I don't know how anybody can say they justify murder.
Well, I guess that's just sort of the position that the other side takes. I mean, this anti-abortion votes have been taken, I think, twice in Colorado when they go down in flames.
Yeah.
Both times. And I think that's the mentality that you're dealing with.
Yeah. How does that make you feel that humanity can accept life being that cheap that a mom can murder their baby just because?
And this might be a stretch. Let me. I was thinking about this while you were discussing it this morning. Trump has chosen to go to war with Iran, and he's murdering a lot of people, including, I think, 170 children. And what he says is, it's fine that we murder these people for the long term, because it'll help us in the long term. And when it comes back to abortion, the way I look at it, our Constitution says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if the mother who wants to murder her baby in order to achieve happiness, which is guaranteed in the Constitution, she wants to murder her baby, I think she should have the right to do so.
Well, war and abortion are two different topics. I see what you're trying to go with there. What would be closer is how do you justify then somebody murdering somebody else because they stole their beer? You know, it's because murder is murder in that sense. And again, the baby is the most innocent of all. They haven't even taken a breath outside of the womb yet, and they're being murdered because mom chooses to be.
Yeah, I just view it as the baby is inside a mother who should have the choice to do that. But if you murder someone because they stole your beer, that person isn't inside your body.
Well, do you think it's hypocritical to see somebody murder their baby in abortion and then somebody turns around and celebrates the birth of a baby? It's the same life.
No, I think both can be true.
So we can celebrate somebody living and then we are okay murdering somebody else.
Yeah, but I don't think murdering someone should be celebrated. It's a very difficult choice that I believe each woman should have the right to make.
Yeah. Well, what I was talking with Peter about off the air is, to me, abortion is a very clear issue. It's killing a baby. The conversation and the circumstances around it are very muddied and very differing and very challenging to have. But yeah, I believe it's murder, and we should not be allowed to do that.
Now, I would propose a compromise. I've seen studies where the baby can feel pain at about 5 months. I've seen the scientific.
Yeah, well, it's much earlier than that. They have a heartbeat in 10 days.
But I mean, when do you believe they can feel pain?
But does that matter? I mean, if my left foot is numb and I don't feel pain, does it mean you should chop my leg off?
No, I'm looking for a compromise here. Let's assume it's 3 months that they can feel pain. What I would be willing to compromise in order to reduce the number of abortions is say you could have an abortion until 3 months, but after 3 months it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, I know that wars can't be. When I say that it was a war, we also have to win incremental battles. And I agree that finding a place where it's illegal, but now Colorado's voted right up to the moment of birth. So
that's why I'm saying I'm looking for.
Yeah, people will make that choice, and I've often heard also, well, the baby's not viable until so many weeks. Well, because of increasing medical procedures, that baby's becoming viable earlier and earlier by that standard. But what it takes away from is the fact that that is a human being at the moment of conception. And that baby has every right to live as you or I. And I appreciate this conversation. This is a great conversation.
No, I think, I think if you want to reduce the number of abortions, maybe if you could, consider a compromise, at least that's a step in the right direction.
What would your compromise be, Gary?
That you can have an abortion up until the baby can feel pain.
How do you know? I mean, that's the part I don't get.
Well, there are scientific studies that have, I thought it was 5 months, but I think your guest thinks it's earlier, so let's assume 3 months. There's scientific evidence. You know,
what's interesting is when the last execution in Colorado was the execution of Gary Davis, and I covered it. I didn't. Carol McKinley and I, and a number of guys who was back on the old days at KHOW and KOA, and Danny Kaplis was part of it, a bunch of different parts of the system. We went down to Canyon, and we stayed in the one motel that's there, and we took the radio show. Phones were all lit up. We took the radio show into Canyon City, and remember there's Canyon City, then there's CSP, and CSP is where they do the executions. And Gary Davis was a horrible person. And yet he'd been sitting on, and there is no death row in Colorado, but he'd been sitting in CSP, and he got real heavy, and he was eating carbs, and I was told by one of the people who worked there that he had become a rat, and he ratted out other convicts to the guards and all kinds of different stuff. And so they were going to zap Gary Davis that night, and they took Gary Davis, and Carol was one of the two media witnesses that went in and saw it. How about this? Put him on hold so we can take the pause and come back. Adam, put him on hold, so we'll do it. We got, 5 minutes? Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. I thought we were coming up on time. And she told me, and I got to see where they execute people, and it looks like an operating room. It really does. It looks like an OR. And they have a set aside, and I was in it, and it looks like theater seating. And it holds about, I'm going to think, 12 people, and they have curtains that are drawn in front of the window. And Carol chose to watch it, or she would put her card in the box, and she was chosen, and she now is with Fox News. Carol's a good friend, to go and see the execution, and it was at night. And there was what we used to call a striker frame. I don't know what it's called now. And they brought Gary Davis. He was there was a cell down the hall from where they did it, and he was moved into that cell a week before his death date, and they kept the lights on 24 hours, and he was in this cell, and they kept one of the personnel outside his cell watching him the whole time. It's really hinky. And they brought him, apparently, I didn't see him do it, but they bring him in, and they give him lots of, I'm going to guess, Valium, something that, knocks him down. And then they strap him down on the frame, and they put the needles or the injections, IVs into his arms. And again, I didn't see this. Carol told me about it. Well, she didn't see any of that. And then when the family was in there, and his lawyer was in there, and the DAs were in there, and all the stuff all the people that were in there, and they pull the curtain back, and nobody on this side of the glass can see. And then when they open up the curtains, there he is, and he's all ready to go, good to go. And at some point in time, and he's in La La Land. He doesn't feel anything, and compared to what he did to the woman that he killed, and there was a woman that he had as an accomplice she should have gone too, but she ratted him out and ended up a sob sister herself, but she should have gone on the same ride. Anyhow, he literally didn't feel one thing or another, and they give the signal someplace, and there's a guy someplace else, and he hits a button, and the
cocktail comes through.
The poison comes through and blows him up. I thought about that, and the woman that he killed when I was working at KOA, you remember the Crettys, John and Jerry Cretty? They had the gardening show on Saturday morning. They were great friends. Anyhow, the woman that he killed, I'm going to come up with her name in a second, but she was Jerry Cretty's sister, and the Crettys were there, and they whacked him. They whacked Gary Davis. I didn't feel a thing. I thought, good, you're gone, you bastard. You know what he did? And this girlfriend that he had on the outside, and I think it was Patty Calhoun in Westward that did the story. When he was in the joint, and I can't remember her name right now, she sent nude pictures of her daughter to these guys that were behind bars. It was a sick, twisted, and they hunted Jerry Cretty, and the way they killed her was horrible. And the Crettys are about semi-tough. And he's lucky because if the Crettys were moving in on him. And when the cops got the guy, Gary Davis, and so what do you do with that? That guy deserved to die. And they waited too long. They did. And I forget how many years it went between when he did the crime and when they did away with him. But I covered that, and I got to tell you, I didn't feel bad for anybody. And yet, I people that struggle so hard for right to life, where? With a guy like Gary Davis? But if you ask them about abortion, oh yeah, that's fine. To the caller, Gary, it doesn't make sense. I mean, the mindset stuff to me doesn't make sense. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, yeah. Pete. Is that you have the right to take a life if that person has done terrible things.
Yeah, the state takes a life.
But obviously,
but John Hickenlooper did away with it. The next guy in the on-deck circle, Nathan Dunlap, and when we come back, we were in CSP, and they said, anybody you want to talk to? I said, how about Nathan Dunlap? They said, see if he'll talk to you. And they said, yes. Thanks for your call. Hang on. We'll talk that on the other side of this on 710 KNUS. 12:44, 16 before the hour. Peter Boyles, Jonathan Flora. Flora? Spell his name right. Jonathan Flora, 710 KNUS. Beautiful day, 75 the high. We're almost done with the show. Talk about play the music. There you go. My father was... It's my grandma's from Cork. Mother, on the high holy days, St. Patrick's Day, that you have ever seen. My mother, she was orange, and my mother, she was green. 710 KNUS, Denver's talk station. Talk about your health for just a minute. We all know a great smile matters, but lots of folks put off the dentist because they are worried about the bill or the drill. Well, it's time to change how you think about the dentist, and it starts at Twin Aspen Dental with Doctors Richter, Snyder, and Dr. Rich, and they are the best. No temporary crown comes off on Friday night. No second appointments. They do it right. They do it with, I'm telling you, and if something happens, they'll come and get you and take care of you. Whether you need dentures, implants, or you're finally ready to straighten out things with Invisalign, the team at Twin Aspen Dental treats you like a neighbor, not a number. They accept most insurance. Their in-house membership plan is a game change for families looking to save on preventive care. Dr. Richter's my guy, and I met Dr. Snyder. Richter is just really a good man. Stop putting it off. Take the first step towards a better smile and better health. Visit them online at twinaspendental.com, twinaspendentalcenter.com, 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 or call 303-841-7466, 303-841-7466. Twin Aspen Dental, your smile will thank you. Jonathan Flora and Peter Boyles together on a Saturday morning, and we have jammed up lines, but I was telling the story when I did an interview with Nathan Dunlap, and the people that are not familiar, Nathan Dunlap murdered everybody in Chuck E. Cheese, and he was put on. He was in the lineup. He was good to go, and they put everything on hold, and then Hickenlooper did away with the death penalty in Colorado. And these are people. The bizarreness is they are pro-abortion. They are pro-choice, whatever you want to put it. But you're not going to kill these people who were
bad people.
The last guy to go was Nathan. And he was a guy named Gary Davis. So I asked the warden. I asked permission because we met the warden in CSP, and she said, is there anybody you'd like to talk to? She was really a good friend, and I said, who's here? Because we never were clear. And she said, Nathan Dunlap. And the Chuck E. Cheese story was still out there. I said, yeah, I'll talk to him if he'll talk. And I don't know how much time went by, we got a call. And he said, they said, he knows who you are. Of course, he did what he did in Denver at the Chuck E. Cheese. Mm-hmm. And he said, he'll talk to you. And so we took the crew, and we went in an elevator, and I don't even know what floor it was on because CSP is just a really very interesting place. So we get off the elevator, and we walk into this room that's like, the speaker. We used to go to the movie theater when we were kids, and they had those little voice things you could talk through to 2 tickets, please, and they could hear you on the other side. And we walked through there, and we sat down, and the door opened, and here came Nathan Dunlap. And we had taken the lavalier mics and hooked them up on the place where you could speak through. And I started talking to him. And I said, Gary Davis is going to go bye-bye tonight. I didn't say it that way, but I said, you're in the on deck circle. He and a guy named Frank Rodriguez, I think, was on the same level. And he said, looks at me, he said, I didn't do it. And
first one to ever say that.
Oh yeah. And I said, you were ID'd, and there was a guy, he murdered everybody in Chuck E. Cheese, and he shot this guy through the face, and the guy ran out, and I don't remember his name, and I wouldn't say it probably anyhow, but he laid down in there were cattails, there was bulrushes, right in there, and he hid. and Gary Davis took whatever money there was. And I have a really good friend, Joe Petroselli, who's in Aurora. He's a retired now Aurora homicide cop, and he was assigned, and they were the guys that really got him. And I said, the guy ID'd you. Your prints are on this and all this kind of stuff. He said, well, I didn't do it. He's looking at me, and I said, well, of course you did. You know, I mean, how does it feel to know? And this is before he got, well, I guess, excommunicated, and he's just going to spend his, hopefully, you know, the way the Democrats operate, they could put him out. You know, he could get a gig. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I said, you don't admit that you, and no, I didn't do this. It was some other guy did it. I said, well, you took the stolen money to your girlfriend, and her mother hid it. And he said, no, I didn't. I said, well, they testified. And I knew a little bit about the case, and it got down to, and I said, take the microphone off it. I'm not going to sit here.
Not getting anywhere.
No, I'm not getting anywhere. And everybody's looking at me, and I'm going, shut it down, pull the mics, let's go, let's get out of here. And I said, I can't be, I just can't sit there and do it.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Oh, it's a true story.
Hey, keeping with the theme how you started the show,
Yeah.
In this day and age of Ultron, in this Skynet at its embryonic,
Skynet.
see what I'm doing? Embryonic stage.
Yes, I
I'm
do.
staying with the theme.
Oh, yeah.
A question came in. Do you believe that artificial intelligence is actually an alien that came to Earth? And this is their way of taking over.
I'm as an amateur history buff, we stumble. It's like if you read Civilization, it's a stumble, but it also moves ahead at the same time. Hey, it could be anything. It really could be. I don't. Does AI scare you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And we're at the state, and as expected, it is accelerating so fast.
Oh.
I mean, there are so many advantages it has, but once you start having a machine thinking for itself,
Skynet.
it's Skynet.
Adam, are you afraid of AI?
No, not afraid. I just think it's going to change things too quickly, and people aren't going to be able to keep up, and it'll cause a lot of problems.
Let's do that next week.
Sure.
Are you scared of listen, that's Pittsburgh.
Are you
scared?
afeared of AI?
That's Pittsburgh is scared. Are you afraid of AI? Yeah, I mean, it's like we have a newscast. One of the newscasts this morning, and the next one coming, is an AI cast, isn't it, Adam? Isn't it like artificial intelligence does the news? And how do you know? Do you have a thing on your phone that you can
What
talk
do
to?
you trust right now? When you see images, when you see stories?
I don't know.
I mean, I saw a picture of you the other day. I'd be embarrassed.
Look at this one. How about this one? Is Netanyahu dead or alive? Virtual 6 fingers AI video. Netanyahu. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Maybe watch The Quiet Man tonight. It's one of my. The Quiet Man.
Yeah, John Wayne. It's great. And you know, when I think of St. Patrick's Day, this is a thing of mine. And wearing a FDNY jersey, I see the firefighters marching down the street in the parade. That is a sight.
I'll tell you what. You can make a case as a history buff. The St. Patrick's Day parade in New York City, possibly the first civil rights demonstration in America.
The Irish.
The Irish. And how the Irish laws.
You know what the first smoke masks were for firefighters? They would put their beards in water and then put their beards in their mouth.
Oh,
there you go. That's your first smoke mask.
That's half tough. Thank you, man. Jonathan's here. He'll be with me next week. All is well in the world. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. 710 KNUS Denver's talk station. I'm going to go ride a motorcycle and go see a couple of them. What did they say? And what did Michelin say? Go talk treason. Remember he tells them that? I'm going to go talk treason. 710 KNUS, thank you all. It was a good show. It was like all by itself, rock and roll. Adam, as always, brother, you huddled together. See you guys. Take care.